I'm here, probably my favorite trail, Dune Ridge Trail. How do you get here? You go from the visitor center, you head north, then that's north on 49. Then you turn right on route, well, I'll just take you all the way to Route 12, which you turn left and then turn right. So now you're headed on Route 12 east. And then you go to the first intersection. Maybe it's a mile to 2 miles. First intersection is 300. They also call it Kemmel Road. And you turn left. It's also called East State Park Road. So you go on that about a mile, a little over a mile under this tree-lined canopy. And the first you pass this one street, which is a dead end on the right. Then you go over 12 grates, and then the next intersection, or the next turn, is the parking lot. Turn right. Then you go into that southeast corner. That's the beginning of a Dune Ridge Trail. Okay, so now you're in the Dune Ridge Trail. You go over. You start on sand. It's just like the beach. If it's midday or so, meaning, let's just say it's 10, 11, 12, 1, you might see dragonflies and butterflies. Okay, so you go on that beach. It's like surface, and you go into what you see is a savanna. So the trees are separated so that plants can grow. So there's great diversity there. And this trail winds around through wildflowers, and you may hear this noise. You may hear like that, and it could be birds, but 90% of the time now in the summer, there's 6-lined race runners which run up to 18 miles an hour. So anyway, you just go by, you turn left. After you're going over these hills, you turn left, and there's all these beautiful ferns, massive amounts of them, old ferns. Then you go up this hill and you start to go up the Dune Ridge. So now you're up here, and you come up here ideally when the sky is still black, and come up with flashlight. But if you come up within 20 minutes or so, half-hour sunrise, it's light. You don't need any. And so here, looking to the east, is the sunrise. So I'm going to see if I can place this in such a fashion, because I'm going to tell a story about why it's so important to hike in the dunes. So let's say that's good enough. Okay. The Indiana Dunes National Park is number 4 in biodiversity. So the Smoky Mountains, they're like over 3 times as many species as number 2, number 3, number 4. And the reason is I contacted them. They've done a 10-year bio blitz. So the national park has done recently, what I see is a 3-day like bio blitz. So in iNaturalist, I started a new collection, and people participate in it if they take a photo in the national park or state park. And after, let's see, anyway, there's a lot of species already. There's about 5,000 observations that are automatically getting filled. Okay, so we know we have biodiversity, the Indiana Dunes, and we know that if we did a 10-year bio blitz, we would have an amazing, even more amazing number. But here's what's important about the Indiana Dunes. We have it all right now in 15,349 acres. Not only is it in that small space, the trails weave in and out of all these ecosystems. So here's a sassafras tree. I'm touching it. I'm getting microbes. So you say, Ryan, now you got all these microbes. And they're on your skin. Hey, my skin is porous. I don't know about yours. My skin is a sponge. I don't know about yours. My skin is not a baggie holding in my guts like yours might be. I'm joking. We're all sponges. So that's why I don't use 231 of the harmful sunblocks. Yeah, there are natural ones, but why do that? Why take the time? Why spend the money when you already have clothes that is long sleeve? You can get a hat. That's why I have a hat, and it covers my neck. I can wear long pants. So why would I put smelly, toxic crap on me? Okay, number two. It's the same with some bug spray. Like DEET is so harmful. In Puerto Rico, there's a nature preserve, and when you get to the entrance of the nature preserve, they just casually say, man, the mosquitoes have been bad this week. I always ask people, what do you guys use? And they'll say, oh yeah, well, I use DEET backwards 99 or whatever. And they say, well, we're sorry you use that because you can't come in here today. Go home, take 5 showers. I'm exaggerating. Take a shower and you can come back tomorrow. You can't come back today. Okay, so we have the greatest biodiversity density. And why are microbes important? Well, simply, you have about 100 trillion cells. Okay, to give you, might not understand what that number means. That number is 1,000 billion. Oh, you heard of sandhill cranes. So they wake up at sunrise. And oftentimes when the sandhills wake up in the morning, they're taking off. They're going to Denny's for the Grand Slam breakfast or something. Anyway, back to microbiome, biodiversity. So when you have these 100 trillion cells in your body, if we have a volunteer, let's lay them all out. We lay out all these cells. 99 trillion, 99% are microbial cells. So the microbial cells are small. Most of the main microbes require a 1,000 magnification to be able to see them. Viruses, and believe me, there are good viruses and bad viruses. Your collection of viruses is called the virome, virome. So your collection of viruses are in this virome, and in order to see what they are all spread apart, spread around, you need an electron microscope. So you're not likely to carry that in your backpack, but there are digital microscopes with 1,000 magnification connected to, say, a laptop, maybe even smart devices. So if we have that and we show this sassafras leaf, we look at it and say, oh, there's those microbes, we see them. Then we take our hand, go like that. Now look at that again. It's changed. Where do those microbes go? They are on us. They're being absorbed. So why does that matter? The microbes determine your health. It's basically the microbes are tuning everything. They're tuning, and people say gut health, which is just like so limiting. Everybody's looking between your chest, in your gut area. No, microbes are everywhere, and it's important that they're everywhere. And so people can do something to improve their health at no cost, and it's a big improvement. So when I was a kid, people said you should chew your food 30 times. So I used to eat a lot of steak, and so I'm getting that steak, I'm chewing it up, say by 10 chews, it is pretty small. I say, okay, I can swallow it, I'm not going to choke. That's what I thought the chewing was for. No, underneath your tongue, in your mouth, are microbes. You want to saturate those microbes with all your food. From action, so your lips are sometimes breaking stuff up as it comes in, your teeth are, and then your mouth, all those microbes, they're so important to feed them. So chew it 30 times. So number one, it's healthier every way through your digestive system. And by all means, don't just eat food for a long period of time and then put water down. You want to use water. If you put water in most things, you're going to see it dissolve and break up more. So you want to have that water in your digestive system with all this stuff going down. So now you chewed it 30 times. So now you're going to get the best out of what you eat. Okay, so we're out on the trail. So I always tell people, hug your trees, touch the leaves, make sure you're not touching poison oak, poison ivy, poison sumac, all that poison stuff. So how do you know? So don't ask me what does poison ivy look like. Be proactive. Get the iNaturalist app. Don't use all these other apps. Don't use Google. Use iNaturalist, because when you take a photo and load it up to find out what it is, you're now in the 10-year BioBlitz, or wherever you're at in America, you're being looked at by somebody. With iNaturalist, within 100 miles of here, wherever you are, that's the people who look at it. Okay. By the way, there's this steep hill, and the surface is angled, so this video is not totally square, and I don't have time to straighten it. So when you touch microbes, you get them. When the National Institute of Health, NIH.gov, that's the best sleeping pill there is. You read their reports. There's so many syllables in their words, so many words in a sentence, so many sentences in a paragraph. You're going to doze off. But anyway, they had a report in 2021 that says hike barefoot. So when I first saw that title, and that might not be the exact title, but that's the concept of that article, I thought, man, ethical hackers, surfers, those kinds of people in Southern California, they hacked into the NIH.gov and put some good stuff. Hey, hike barefoot. So why does NIH.gov say you should hike barefoot? That reason is for grounding or earthing. And you can study what that is, but I'll just say it's the impact of, the influence of the electrons, positive, negative charge. It's supposed to give you energy. So I met a couple from Connecticut, and they said, yeah, we have dunes here. And I'm talking to them, and they say, well, here's our routine, because they were very healthy, looked good. They were walking with me, and they said, we have chairs in our backyard. We have 1-2-inch diameter copper pipes jammed in 10 feet or more. And we sit in our chairs, and instead of just folding our arms and looking, we put our hands on those pipes. We are now grounding. They had said we felt energy from it. It wasn't make-believe. So I mean, there's a real example, and it's endless as to the examples. So hiking barefoot, you're stomping on microbes. You're getting the benefits from earthing and grounding. Okay, so now when I'm coming to a trail, I'm seeing this stuff. I'm seeing this beautiful green. I'm seeing that shady green. I'm seeing this shady green. I am seeing this sandhill crane, this robin, this bluebird, this cardinal, this nuthatch, all those little birds, all kinds of birds, hawks, turkey vultures, they're all flying around. It's very relaxing. And so then let's talk about sound. Right now, I don't know if you can hear it, the waves are roaring. Based on this, I would say they're 3-4 foot waves. I'm gonna find out, because today is gonna be a beach day this morning where I go and read and snack. And so let's go over it. Touch, hearing, seeing. When you see and hear beautiful things, your microbes can live longer. The average life is 12 hours. So let's say because of all this good natured stuff, it's not 12 hours, it's 12.05. That means they're longer. That means they're growing in size, so that in quantity. So that means you're gonna have, being in nature, you have a more biodiverse microbe. Your microbiome is your collection of microbes. So you have a greater number of microbes. So there's another person, they're working in a stamping plant, bam, 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 or they're working where these trains and trucks screech by hour after hour. Their microbes are not living 12 hours. Maybe they're 11.987, who knows? But they're less, and so their microbes, their life is decreasing. So you want to have a plethora of microbes. You want them to be diverse. And so when you have all these species, as I said, we're number 4 in biodiversity. The national and the state park is counted within the acreage. The 2,183 acres of the state park is included in the national park. They're the same ecosystem. So when you're in the Indiana dunes, I'll say, you've got great number 4 biodiversity, and it's close to number 3, which is Yosemite. Number 2 is the Grand Canyon. Number 1 is the Smoky Mountains, who did the 10-year bio blitz. So here we are all around these microbes, we're touching stuff. Let me tell you why one reason I take people on a night hike. I got this massive, it's about a 7,500 lumen light. It's made out of aluminum, and it's got heat fins on it when I have that in the fall and winter, I don't need a glove because it's so warm. So I take that and hold it up, and you will see all this particulate stuff. So when I'm holding it up, because there's heat and going up, this thing is creating like a tornado going up. You see all that material stuff. Guess what? It's there during the day. I just don't see it. So I'm breathing in, this stuff's falling off trees, and winds blowing stuff off bushes. Yeah, there might be some pollution in there too, but there might be pollen stuff in there. Whatever it is, you're getting it here, and you're not getting it on the side of the Dan Ryan when you got a flat tire. You're not getting it when you're in your neighborhood with incredibly poor biodiversity. So what do you got in your neighborhood? Grass. Blame Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson was in Scotland, and he sees this grass, and he says, hey, we don't have that. I'm going to be elite. I'm going to bring it. So he brought this fine grass. So everyone before had prairie grass, or they tall stuff around their house. So he brings that grass. So guess how it ruined America? That one thing did so much. First of all, in some areas you're going to have to water it. So now we're wasting water on an invasive species. Number 2, it grows because you water it and because the sun's shining on it. So what does that mean? You have to cut it, because otherwise it's going to look like what you just replaced, taller grass. So you got to cut it. So what are you cutting it with? You're cutting it with a gasoline lawnmower, or if you have a smaller area, I remember using a push lawnmower, a Scott's push lawnmower, or there's a lot of brands, and the blades would be spinning. And by the way, you got to sharpen those. So how you going to sharpen them? All the energy to do that, the pollution getting to and from where you get the stuff to sharpen it. So you now have people wasting water, people causing pollution by the lawnmowers, and people say, oh, well, I got this new Ryobi electric lawnmower. Well, guess what? Where's that power coming from? So there was someone in the news, this woman politician I think it was out east, and someone saw these electric cars. She was promoting them, and they said, where does electricity come from? And she said, well, it comes right from that building. And the guy asked again, well, where does electricity come? Well, it comes right from that outlet. Well, where does that come from? So the mayor in that area stepped in, and he said, I know what you're getting at. It's from a coal power plant. I've heard a number, 70% of all Teslas driving around were charged ultimately from coal power plants. So many people believe that coal power plants with unlimited resources of coal is the way that we should be generating power, and that all these other systems are failing. Turbines in Texas, because they didn't buy the ones that had stuff that maybe they're heaters or special lubricant or special design that they could survive cold. So, who's manufacturing all these green technology? China. Who's building massive amounts of coal-fired power plants? China. Who else? India. So they're generating all this, and people in the world are saying, oh, America, you need more Teslas. You need more Toyota hybrids, Priuses. Anyway, I'm not saying that that's bad, but now, you know, you're just focusing the pollution. So let's say our power plant in NIPSCO, so now we're just inundating Michigan City area and Beverly Shores and the Pines. Well, yes, that power plant's going away, but the point is pollution just because you're using electric. But let's get back to the grass. So you've now wasted water, you've wasted energy getting all the stuff that you're using with the lawn. You now have gasoline spewing, or you have electric in the car. The pollution is at the coal-fired power plants. So guess what? You have a roadway, you may have sidewalks, and you don't like that grass hanging over onto the sidewalk. So now you're going to edge it. So you got these horrific, horrid two-stroke weed whackers, because these professionals running around, hey, they don't have extension cords. They're not going to connect to your house and the outlet's popped or dead or whatever, and they cords in the way. They're coming out of their pickups, out of their trailers with these two-stroke things screaming. Why do you think the government was banning two-stroke motorcycles? Almost all the motorcycles being produced now, and I don't know the exact law, but like even motocross bikes, the majority now are four-stroke, because four-stroke burns cleaner. So anyway, one report I read said that a two-stroke weed whacker causes more pollution than the average new car. Okay, but now guess what? Your grass, there's invasive species in it. So you're now buying stupid glyphosate. When glyphosate was invented in around 1950 by Dr. Martin in Switzerland, he said, do not use this as a general herbicide, general pesticide, because A, it's water soluble. That's number one reason. So you spray it, it sinks down through the soil, gets into the watershed, rolls out, comes into creeks, rivers, ditches, lakes, and guess what? It evaporates. So when you have stuff evaporating, glyphosate is going with this evaporation. Maybe not all of it, but some of it. It's up there. So if you see these clouds, what's going to happen with these clouds? They're going to combine, they're going to have rain. So now glyphosate. So people say, oh yeah, I got this organic farm. No, you don't. I said, tell me about your neighbor, John. Does he use pesticides, herbicides? He said, yeah, I haven't converted him to be organic yet. Okay, so do you have a 500-foot blue tarp from Menards a mile wide blocking his spraying of herbicides? No. Are you controlling the clouds that are tainted with glyphosate? No. What does glyphosate do? It kills the good microbes in your collection of in your microbiome. It's killing those fighters. It is killing your immune system. And people say, oh, well, all these people in the courts have said, oh, glyphosate's not harmful. Oh, really? Why are people getting lots of money? Why did Monsanto, who's bought by Bayer now from Germany, why do they have billions, tens of billions of dollars set aside for lawsuits? If it's so clear cut, why would they set all that money apart? All they got to do is spend say $100 million on good attorneys. So our government, United States of America, Washington D.C., at one time they were saying, oh, it's sort of sketchy with this glyphosate. People who knew about glyphosate went to Washington, testified and stuff. Guess what? They changed their opinion and say, oh yeah, glyphosate's fine. Just like I saw 700 reports saying, oh yeah, microwaves are good. Microwaves aren't good. This one guy said, yeah, microwaves are better than traditional cookie. Okay, let's take a potato, put it in the microwave, press the button for whatever, let's say a minute, 2 minutes. Check the temperature at this end of the potato, or in here 2 inches, and the temperature is say 180, and over here it's 70. So anyway, you're cooking unevenly, you're overheating and damaging, killing nutrients. That's one thing. Why do people with pacemakers, they're not supposed to go by that? Because there's electromagnetic radiation from it. Well, yeah, it impacts pacemakers. It may impact you as well. And hey, you're in a hurry. You're looking in there. Is it bubbling? Is it bubbling? So anyway, I'll generally say man's shortcuts for productivity in life are harmful. So they couldn't wait for public transportation. So now we got to have a chicken in every pot and a Ford Model A, Model T at every house, instead of waiting for public transportation, instead of riding your horse, instead of riding your bicycle. So where am I at? So back to the grass. So now we're spraying herbicides, pesticides. So now you're walking there. People say to me, oh, Ron, I'd like to come to the dunes, but I only have like an hour this morning, and so I'm just going to walk in my neighborhood. I'm sorry you're walking in your neighborhood. Guess what? We're going to start alphabetically if I could do this. We have DHL, Federal Express, forgot the A, Amazon. We have UPS and United States Postal Service. We have buses, school buses, and I'll tell you, I travel around, I go to towns. Those school buses, I don't even think they have a gas pedal. They just got to switch full on brake, full on brake. They're turning the corner, pedal to the metal, whoosh, getting to the, hey, we're 3 minutes behind, we got to make it up. And so I don't have anything against bus drivers per se, but the school system, you go by, they're always hiring school bus drivers. They're all stressed out. They got to do a little bit more routes. So you got all this diesel pollution going in your neighborhood. So let's say in the old days, people are putting on roofs that have asbestos. I know they're not doing that today. So you got that in the air. You have concrete. So in these subdivisions, the average subdivision, they have, I'll say it's a curb. I see people going bump up over their curb almost to get in their driveway. So now they get some money and they say, we're going to grind it down. Concrete grinded, and that powder in the air is horrible. So you're walking by, you roll up your window as you blast by at 20 miles an hour. What about that person walking their dog and they're going slow and they're breathing that in? So the neighborhood is a toxic place, just like your house, the drywall box is toxic. You want to get out of your drywall box. You want to get into nature, not the mall, not your neighborhood. I mean, obviously, if all you got is your neighborhood, or you only got 20 minutes, don't go polluting and drive for 5 minutes to walk here. So you want to get out of your toxic drywall box. You want to get into nature. You want to learn about nature from naturalists. They don't have to be formally trained. They just know how to read. They know how to read Scholar.Google. Google. They know how to read other. Hey, there's the Sand Hills. And I know exactly where they are. They're always there, bugling. So get out into nature. So let me tell you, let me tell you about brain health. So I took this class called Mental Health First Aid. When I heard about it, I was invited to take it. I had never heard the word mental health and first aid in the same thing. So what is mental health first aid? It's looking at signs and symptoms that a person might be having some problems, and you're not diagnosing it. You're not saying they have this psychosis or bipolar or massive depression or whatever. You're not saying that. You're just saying, I noticed this person used to sleep well, They used to be fairly groomed, and now everything's gone to HE double hockey sticks. They are just not what they were. Or you see them driving and they just get such rage, or they're very, whatever the symptoms, and you could read signs and symptoms you can see. So early on, you want to notice that. Early on, you want to be loving and kind and say, hey, I noticed that you're being a little different. Are you going through something? And let them talk, and offer to them, hey, there's some professionals who know a heck of a lot more than me. They could talk to you. It might not involve medicine. Don't worry about the pharmaceutical industry. Just go and talk to them for those drugs. Well, anyway, you want to get them into care at the early stage, not the last hour. You don't want to be calling 988, a suicide mental health line. You want to be able to get them healthier long before it gets worse. But when you're out in nature, you're getting those microbes. It is microbes. The brain itself doesn't create the good chemicals. It's microbes within or on that are creating the good chemicals that make you have the runner's high, the hiker's high, or vitamin nature coming in. So what else affects mental health? So many things, different trauma. Certainly, I'm dealing a lot with the veterans. There's 17.4 million veterans, and an average of 17.3 veterans up through 2019 have been taking their lives. It's not their fault at all. They have been around massive sounds, which can cause damage to the brain from concussions. They've seen things, they've done things which they were ordered to do, or they're just in a situation where it's their life against. They killed humans. I know of pilots reporting they're out in the Middle East and they're dropping bombs, and all they see is this whoosh, several thousand feet below. They come back to the base and they say, yeah, we killed hundreds today. And that, believe me, they're not pleased about it. The people who are controlling drones, a lot of them are in a mountainside in a secure place, and they're flying these drones, and they know they're not playing some PlayStation, Xbox video game. When they press that and this goes, there's people dying, and they don't even know them, and they're thousands of miles away in some cases. It affects your brain. So we got all these people. In the old days, you'd be in this battle, and then you would take time, whether it's on horse or walking, to get back to your residence where you lived. Today, what happens, say for example there's some war going on out in the Middle East, and you are on the battlefield on Wednesday, and by Friday, within hours, you're in your kitchen. So this man, and I'm sorry I forgot his name, in World War II, he came up with this saying, you have to walk off the war. And he was the first person to hike the whole Appalachian Trail. So by walking off, you're in nature, you have time to think, you got these great microbes kicking in, helping you. So one of the things for mental health they call self-care. What are you doing to improve and take care, maintain your mental health? So there was roughly 8 of them. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I'll just tell you. So one is, you physically need to be moving. If you're just sitting, it's going to be a nightmare. Number 2, get into nature. Number 3, manage your finances. Don't go beyond your means and put additional stress on you. So as an example, when you're out here on the trail, you are really I think so much better when I'm out here than when I'm sitting at a desk inside a drywall box. So I'm thinking better, and I say, well, boy, should I really buy that? What if like some people say, oh, what if I'm laid off from work? What if this person gets sick? I can't even use this ski boat. I can't even use this camper. I can't even use these things that I bought, and they're depreciating. You want the latest and greatest, so you're paying 100%, and you're not being frugal maybe and buying some used one. But anyway, you're thinking better on the trail, so you're gonna do better financial decisions. What about relationships? Are you in toxic relationships? You just keep exposing yourself to these same people. Anyway, there's many things that impact your health, and that's a whole nother video. But come out. This is something you can control. Come on a hike. I don't care if you come with me. Go. Take your family. If you just by yourself, you go. Bicycle riding. So if you run through a trail, by the way, here's another thing. You run through this trail. I could run the 3 Dune Challenge in 22 minutes. I'm not bragging. That's just a fact. I've done it many times. There's a 70-year-old guy who runs it in 20 minutes. We're blasting through there. We are not absorbing. It's a shortcut, another shortcut. We're going through in 20 minutes what normally would take, say, an hour and 15 minutes going slow. And if you do photography, definitely take up photography. Even if you delete all the photos at the end of your hike, you see stuff, you're taking time, you're going close, you're observing, you're breathing microbes. Photography is a big health builder. In addition to the hiking, it's a great combination. Kayaking, builds the upper. Snowshoeing will get you out of the house when you don't like to just walk on snow and ice. The snowshoes I have, they're called Sherpa. Not that that matters, but your foot pivots. It's not like you got tennis rackets strapped to you. So your foot, I can actually jog in them. They have these great teeth. So I'm here, Camel Beach is just, a third of a mile that way. I have taken my snowshoes in mixed weather, which means we have snow, we have ice, and we have sand, and I've walked through all of it. You don't fall, and it gets you out, gets you moving, and get out into nature is my message. And if you want to get out with me and you want to learn about, I have people who are super knowledgeable. This new hiker, she started and she has been hiking like many times a week now. She first came on a full moon hike, and anyway, she's super knowledgeable about skin but also about nutrition. And so she's coaching me, and I've changed what I'm eating, and I feel better for it. So you're doing what you're breathing and touching, seeing and hearing, you're improving that. And so what do you put into your mouth? What are you chewing on, breaking up 30 times? You want to be the best stuff. Sugar, as I say, the Industrial Revolution, what a horrific thing it did. So now we're able to create sugar, massive amounts at fair prices. So now people got wheelbarrows of sugar in their garage. They have canisters of sugar in their closets. They have smaller canisters on their countertops. They have special bowls, sugar bowls on their table. It's incredible. It's horrific what it's doing. And then, if that wasn't good enough, these people come out with high fructose corn syrup. So all that sugary stuff makes you crave. If you eat, and I have never in my life eaten one M&M. I've eaten 2 to 100. Have I ever eaten one miniature Reese's peanut butter cup? Probably not. I've eaten 2 or 3. Have I ever eaten one chocolate covered raisin? No. Have I ever drank 1 cup of Coca-Cola at a fast food restaurant? And I know I can go up there and I can fill it again. I can fill it again. I can fill it again. Believe me, I've drank massive amounts of Coke. I grew up drinking 16-ounce, very cold bottles of Coke next to the ice out in the small ice box in the refrigerator. I'd be out running all kinds of stuff, playing games, sports stuff, right behind my house in Whiting, and I would run in. Was I drinking water? The only place I got water then was from a hose, from a black Sears rubber hose. Crank that up and you have to run it a while until it got cool because the sun was heating the hose. So that water, you know, city water can often have fluoride. Oh my gosh, stay away from fluoride. Many countries have banned fluoride, and here we are. It's not enough that we're flossing, and if we don't floss enough, you know, your gums are bleeding, and so when you're brushing your teeth, that fluoride from the toothpaste gets into you. It affects your pineal gland. It affects your creativity. It affects a lot of stuff. There are studies that show, and so there's, anyway, studies that show that areas that have fluoride, oftentimes those people are having more cavities than areas that don't have fluoride. Well, there could be one explanation. Places that are having well water in rural areas where their incomes are lower, they're not having all the Haagen-Dazs $7 things of ice cream, and candies and all that, and pops, and so they're causing extra decay in the wealthy areas where there is fluoride, in the cities and suburbs. But so anyway, there's you know, don't. So parents, again, here they take this shortcut. Oh, my kid doesn't have time to eat an apple, but man, they can down 8, 10, 12, 16-ounce apple juice. It's not the same. And people say, oh yeah, I don't get the apple juice with sugar added. It's not, you know, it's all natural, no sugar added. Do you realize that there's been apples that have been bred that have more sugar? It's not natural. And you're getting too much, and you're not getting the fiber. So anyway, you want to go to the real source. Let's just talk about a banana. It's perfect. A, you can pick it up, fits in your hand real good. B, you're not even going to pick it up if it's not the right color that you like. So this container is telling you what it's going to taste like. When you pick up all these man-made junk, is it like color-coded saying, hey, it's going to be this taste, this taste? So how do you open it? You know, it's easily open. You can hold it. So bananas have potassium, and I've done a lot of bicycle racing, and this one mountain bike race, it's one of the most, the Chicomigan Fat Tire Festival has this race, 40 miles. It's 20 miles uphill, 20 miles downhill, but you're just going like this. And they have tables with bananas. I ate so many bananas. And so, you know, I'm just sort of rambling. I'm going off on these tangents, and that's what I do. That's what I like to do, because when you're going off just a script and you're just talking down this stuff, it's like Charlie Brown, want. You know, anyway, I like going in tangents. So when I'm on hikes, I always say, okay, you keep me within like 5 tangents, and say, okay, get back. What were you going to say about Diana of the Dunes? So get out in nature. If you can get out of your neighborhood, get into a nearby forest, get into a forest preserve. If you're living closer, get into the Indiana Dunes. You can go to indianadunесhiking.com for focused on veterans, but surely anyone can look at it. Hikervets.com, hikervets.com, or hiker.vets.us, or hikervets.org. They all point to the same place in case you misspell it. Also, this is a new one. I'm not going after 17.4 million veterans. I'm going after one. So once I help that one, then you go move on. So I have a website, PURSUE1.vet. It's .vet. So pursue1.vet. And in there is stuff that's going to be talking about faith-based, and I'm getting churches, uh, ministries, other people involved. Anyway, so I could go on for like 5 hours like I do on some of these hikes, which are all free. So go to one of those websites, and then second, you can just send an email to indianaduneshiking@gmail. If it's military focused, you can send it to hikervets@gmail.com. If it's faith based, it's pursue1vet@gmail.com. And lastly, if it's urgent, like don't go comment and put in questions. I have over 250 Facebook pages. 250. Indiana Dunes Sunrise, Indiana Dunes Sunset, Indiana Dunes Glyphosate, Indiana Dunes Night Hikes, Indiana Dunes Ron Seaman Photography. Every, most things that you can think of. Indiana Dunes Diana the Dunes, Indiana Dunes Henry Chandler, Coles. I got all these pages. Why? Because I get metrics from all these pages. I know the kind of person who's looking at that. I can focus things at them. So Apple's got, one thing on Facebook. Indiana Dunes National Park's got one thing. State Park's got one thing. They don't collect the data. Everything is about collecting data, knowing your customers, knowing how to reach them, knowing what the age. So I know on every page, I'll just give this example. Women between 40 and 50, they're very big on the beach, and men aren't, as far as liking pages. But then in the hiking area, it's much more balanced in the liking. But what age groups? The younger age groups, teens and stuff, they're not into it. It keeps going up, and it peaks like in the 50 to 60 range, and then starts going down. Last thing about the hiking, this is not training for a 5K, training for an ultra marathon or for a marathon. We did a hike at Pinhook Bog Upland Trail, which is a great place. And it had been hot and humid for days. We go there, there's all these mushrooms, and green ones. There's this brown one with this white stuff around it. It looks like a chocolate ice cream with almonds. There's all these mushrooms. We went through this 2.25 mile trail. We averaged 0.9 miles an hour. We're going slow, we're taking photographs. We want to absorb, we want to learn, and I learned from others too, the nature of nature. If you're just power walking, just go do it by yourself. We don't have time. We don't like people going way ahead, causing pressure. Oh, we got to catch up because, hey, they got to go to their bowling class, whatever. We are moving together. I'm going the speed of the slowest person. If I see this person struggling, I'm going to go by them. I'm going to talk with them. I'm going to slow down, take more photos. No one even knows that. They just think, oh, Ron's taking more photos. They don't know I'm doing that because I'm trying to accommodate this slower person. And I don't even like doing planned hikes. I like doing spontaneous hikes just like this is. I like people who want to go hike at Colesbog, who want to go hike from Mount Baldy to Central Avenue Beach and see the great geological stuff. I want people to request them. And like people think they're imposing or something. No, they're not. I'm going hiking, average last year 612 hikes, 1.7 hikes a day. I'm going. If someone says, hey Ron, can we go here? I'm all for it, and I'll do it. So anyway, urgent things, I say, if you're posting a question saying, hey, my mom's coming from Iowa today, this afternoon, what do you recommend? Don't go post that on Facebook. I'm never going to see it. Facebook doesn't even notify me of all this stuff. They can't even list all my Facebook pages in one list. I have to know the list. I have to know all the names. They can't even list them all out, let alone notify me. So if it's urgent, text 1-219-370-9119. That's 1-219-370-9119. So I will get that. Most of the time I have signal with T-Mobile. Trail 9 along the lakefront, it's dead. On the beach parallel to Trail 9, it's pretty much dead. But I'll get that. I also, because I use Google Voice, every text message is converted to an email, so I have permanent record of it in case I couldn't answer the question. Then later in the day, when I get on email, I can. So that's it. I could go on, like I say, for hours. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for listening. And what did I teach today? Get out in nature. It's good for you. That's all you got to know. It's good for you. Get out in nature. Builds mental health, builds physical health, and that's all.